Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's virtual public hearing on the proposed disposition of two properties in historic Anacostia. My name is Richard Livingston, and I am the Deputy Chief of Staff and Communications Director of DC's Department of Housing and Community Development, here to provide some brief housekeeping updates to get us started. During tonight's public hearing, attendees will be in listen-only mode until such a time that you'll be elevated to the role of panelist and can provide testimony or verbal feedback on this proposed disposition. If you have questions during tonight's hearing, you can use the Q&A panel, which is located in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Simply type in your question and we have staff on hand to respond. The same functionality exists for a chat box. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded. If you experience technical issues, please contact WebEx at help.webex.com and a phone number that I will put in the chat, which is 1-866-779-3239. You may hear me throughout tonight's hearing as I work with the team to navigate this platform for a smooth hearing. I'll now turn the program over to Portfolio and Asset Management Division Manager, Danara Owens. And Danara, you're on mute.
Thank you, Richard. All right, welcome. Actually, I'm going to turn it to Sega is doing welcome remarks. I am going to share my screen, share my presentation here. So let's start.
Sure. While Danara gets set, thanks for getting us set up, Richard, and thanks to the members of the public who are able to join us tonight regarding the disposition hearing for the V&W Street homes. I guess just as an overview, the Property Acquisition and Disposition Division at DHCD is our division that primarily focuses on rehabilitating vacant and blighted property into productive use, namely affordable housing. And so, as we all know, Mayor Bowser has had a very strong goals in affordable housing to create 36,000 new units of housing, of which 12,000 should be affordable, and laid them out in 10 planning areas across the city. And we know that every little bit helps. So we're very excited that these two homes, which have been long in the works, are finally at the point to be sold to qualified households. And I believe with that, we can get started with the presentation.
Thank you, Sega. Okay, so.
We can't hear you speaking, but I suspect your pause has to do with maybe trying to change the view of the presentation. However, we can still see it. It's just not quite appropriately presenting, but don't want to delay proceeding through the hearing. It's not, it won't prevent us from meeting.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to do some quick introductions here. Like I said, my name is Danara Owens. I'm the Program Manager of Property Acquisition and Disposition Division. We have Sagos, the Chief of Staff. We also have Davey Paschel who is the Project Manager for the V&W site. We have Shantice Rogers, who is our Program Specialist, and Robin Henderson, who is our Program Analyst. And the purpose of the public hearing is to, again, welcome public comment on the proposed disposition of two sites or two parcels of land located at 1328 W Street and 1319 V Street. To give you some background information on the division, PAD was formed in 2008, consolidating the Homestead Housing Preservation Program and the Home Again Program, as well as the Land Housing Development Opportunities Program, into one division. The goal of PAD is to stabilize neighborhoods by decreasing the number of vacant and abandoned properties in the district and transform vacant and deteriorated properties into home ownership opportunities for district residents. Okay, so in 2017, these homes located on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, formerly known as the Big K site, were relocated to 1328 W Street to transform those vacant properties into homeownership. 1319 V Street was then rehabilitated into a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home, completely renovated from foundation to roof. It is being disposed of to a family at 60% of the area median income. 1328 V Street was also rehabilitated into a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home that is being disposed of to a family earning 50% or below of the area median income. Apologies. Apologies, this is extremely delayed here in advancing the slide. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second, just to continue the to continue talking. Apologies. Okay, thank you. Stop sharing just to continue the presentation, to continue talking. So, as I said, the homes were relocated from Martin Luther King Avenue. The site was acquired with CDBG funds to eliminate slum and blight, and we met that national objective when we relocated those homes in February of 2017. Both of the units were entered into a modified IZ lottery process in which we released the homes for families to enter a expression of interest form to sign up for those homes and to also enter their information to see if their family qualified with the income certification. All families had to enter their full income certification information, pay stubs, W-2 forms to qualify at the 50 and the 60% income levels. Those homes were then entered into that lottery, and the first homeowners were selected and given the opportunity to move forward in the process with their pre-approval and further take possession of the home. So with that, we are fulfilling the requirement pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 423171, Section A, subsection 1, to hold this public hearing to solicit input for the intended disposition of those properties, now located after subdivision on squares 5781, lot 1000, and lot 0999. This hearing notice announcement was published in the DC Register on December 31st of 2021. And now we will go forward with hearing the resident feedback. If you have registered to testify, you will be asked to provide your testimony. And as Richard said, you will be unmuted at that time. You will be given 3 minutes to provide the testimony. DHCD staff is on hand to keep that time. We will give each person notification in advance when they hit the 1-minute mark. And then after registered persons have testified, we will open it up to persons who are calling in for an open testimony. And the first registered testimony that we have here is Brent
Mr. Peterson, you have been elevated to the role of panelist. You're welcome to unmute yourself and provide your testimony.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
We can. Good evening.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. Pardon me as I switch rooms while we take care of bedtime here with our kids. So I think the overall goal of these properties is incredibly laudable. And we're happy that DHCD, which is located in our community, I'm a resident of historic Anacostia, and actually I can see the homes from my backyard. So I'm so excited to see that this process is reaching resolution. I have a lot of questions on the process that led to this. So as the speaker indicated, these homes were moved in 2017. We're in 2022. I watched the process of these homes being reassembled and built. So excited for them to be lived in, since the whole point of this is stabilizing communities. So my first question is, there's so many timeline things. The homes were completed for nearly a year. There were security guards sitting there watching the homes, making sure they weren't broken into after they were broken into. Then for like over a year and a half, there hasn't been a security guard on site. And so what has taken so long? What has led to this process? If the goal was putting people in homes and at an affordable cost, how has this taken 5 years so far? And related question, when will the alleyway be built for these homes, since there's connected infrastructure that is necessary for the residents to reach their homes, and it hasn't been completed yet? And then third question, when are the other two homes connected to this plan going to be built? Will that also take another 5 years?
I apologize. I don't remember your last name, Brent. But is that
Brent
the
Peterson.
completion of your test? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Peterson. Just wanted to make sure. Is that the full of your testimony? We can definitely set up a meeting to talk through plans and come out to the community and sort of give an update on the project for sure. I just didn't know if you had anything else further your testimony.
I
Goes
do,
part of the
yes.
record tonight.
Another question I had was, what was the final cost for each of the homes? In the community, we've heard it was north of $1 million for each house. And so just curious what that came out to. And I think I may have one additional question, but I'd like to perhaps have those questions I initially posed answered first, since I know there may be some of my neighbors. We talked about this with other neighbors, and we're all really curious to know what has happened with this process.
Okay, sure. So I guess I'm just trying to check with Richard. I think usually the way these hearings go, we take your testimony from the public as part of the record, and then we can either schedule a meeting to come out to the community or set up another call where we can have sort of a discussion and give a full presentation and address all the questions you've posed today. So I just want to make sure that's all of it for the testimony.
Why can't we do that now? We've waited 5 years for these homes to be completed, and rather than wait for written responses, I think people just like to know. And it sounds like you've already chosen the buyers, which I don't have an opinion on. I think that's great. But then this meeting just feels like a formality. You have to check the box. I thought you were soliciting community input, whereas I don't know what community input you're looking for, because you've chosen the buyers, the homes are done. So I don't know what more input I could offer. Get it done, I guess.
If I could, Mr. Peterson, this is Richard Livingston, the Deputy Chief of Staff, to fill in what Sega was alluding to, that a potential suggestion for how to incorporate your questions into your testimony, which is that the district is coming before the public with the intended disposition strategy for these two properties, where we indicate what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it, at what affordability level, to who, all of the things that were caught in Ms. Owen's introductory remarks. And the public has an opportunity to provide feedback on the district's proposed disposition. And so if your questions relating to cost of the property being disposed, the length of time it's taken to get to the disposition, if you could restate your questions as feedback to the district on its disposition strategy, that would be how your comments would be best incorporated in the hearing. And then reiterating, of course, the agency's willingness and interest in providing feedback to, rather answers to those questions outside of the hearing.
Okay. So my questions would be, could DHCD please outline the timeline related to the execution of this project and how it has taken 5 years while these homes have sat empty for nearly half of that time? And how does that fulfill the agency's mission of stabilizing communities and reducing blight? My second question would be, why, over that period, did DHCD not actively maintain the land on which these homes were located? And why do neighbors have to submit maintenance requests for the city to cut the lawn or take care of fallen trees? My third question would be, could the city provide more information on the final total cost of the reconstruction of these two homes? My fourth question would be, why is the city considering selling these homes before the related infrastructure to them is not complete? Mind you, these homes need an alleyway to be accessed. And I think there may be some infrastructure, maybe sewer, water, maybe not connected to that, but there's an alleyway that's supposed to be on this site for homeowners to connect their property. And that isn't finished yet. And a fifth question would be, when can we expect the completion of the two additional structures that were supposed to be included on this site? Thank you for your time. That is my testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. And of course, this hearing is being recorded such that your questions have been captured and the agency will respond.
And just so clarification, nothing is going to be answered tonight. You're just collecting questions.
Correct. So if to paraphrase your questions as feedback to the district, what I am hearing is that your public feedback on the agency's proposed disposition is, for example, as it relates to the last issue, that the disposition strategy needs to further the plans on the site such that there is clarity on the timing of the additional structures on the site, the additional site work, including the alley, that it sounds like you're proposing to the agency and its strategy to dispose, that we take efforts to improve the properties or because of the lack of maintenance over the last year, such that you
2
have,
years.
right? So I'm just paraphrasing your questions as comments. So the way you have phrased them is useful to us in this forum in the very limited structure that a disposition hearing provides, and that we can and are willing to answer your questions, including in a format that is amenable. And I believe the chief of staff suggested a community meeting. So it seems that you are busy and working with children, I think you alluded to, so not trying to take up more of your evening time, but that would be my proposed path forward to accommodate your interests outside of the structure of this hearing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Peterson is now being relegated back to the role of an attendee. And Daenerys, I'll turn it back to you on whether we have others registered to attend or to provide testimony.
Mr. Peterson was the only registered witness. I don't have any comments in the chat from participants wanting to speak? Let's see. Double checking here.
Yeah, so renewing the call for for attendees to express their interest in providing feedback to the district on its proposed disposition of these two properties. Feedback can take the form of questions, but we are willing to answer those questions in other formats. Not seeing anything in the chat, but being referred to the Q&A function. And I should have been precise in my introductory remarks that the purpose of the Q&A function is to facilitate questions about the hearing, not about subjects concerning the hearing. That really the purpose of this hearing, as prescribed in the law and required before we dispose of these properties, is to get feedback on our proposed disposition. So questions that pertain to the legal matter of this hearing would be entertained, or questions on the format and nature of the hearing, but not on the properties themselves, as we went through with Mr. Peterson.
Okay, no additional chat and Q&A or chat comments.
A good question, Ms. Philippa, is relevant, is concerning that we've only mentioned one candidate for the selection, Danara. Because we're talking about two properties, can you elaborate?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
There's a question on why we've only mentioned one candidate being selected.
Well, I don't think I did say one candidate. Back to two households were selected. One for 1319 V Street. That household was selected to meet 60% of the area median income, and the second household for 1319 V Street, 1328 W Street was a 50% area median income household. Not sure.
Thank you, Renata, for that question.
And I tried to go back to the slides, and it's not advancing on my screen, so I do apologize.
The slide on the screen currently reflects 1328 W Street, which is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home being disposed of to a buyer at, I believe that says 50% of the area.
Yes. And then
so
again,
renewing the request for anybody in attendance who's interested in providing feedback to the district on its proposed disposition for these two properties. And we did have a question from Mr. Peterson concerning the date of the relocation of the properties that may be relevant here. And then there's a question concerning when the candidates were selected for these properties.
you want me to answer those now?
I think so. I mean, I think that it toes the line of whether it's useful information that would change attendees' proposed feedback to the district on the disposition. So if it's useful information that changes the.
All right, so I have on record that the homes were relocated in February of 2017. And as far as the households being selected, we had an open house in 2020. The expression of interest form open for 30 days for people to apply for the houses, and we did the modified lottery in December of 2020.
So I'll make a third and final call for any attendees interested in providing verbal feedback to the districts on its proposed disposition. Seeing none, Janera, I can turn it back to you.
Okay. With that, that actually concludes the public hearing. We are still accepting written statements. So written statements are going to be accepted until 4:45 p.m. on Friday. If you would like to send those written statements via email, you could do so at dhcd.padd@dc.gov, or you can mail those statements attention to Drew Hubbard, interim director. And our address is located here on the slide, as well as in the record for this this hearing. We'll provide that.
So thank you. This hearing is now concluded.